Welcome to Stories of Success about James Earl Jones. Today we will talk about American actor's career. James Earl Jones is an American actor whose career spans more than 7 decades. He has been described as one of America's most distinguished and versatile actors. Jones made his screen debut in Stanley Kubrick's 1964 film Dr. Strangelove. He won his first Tony Award in 1968 for his role in The Great White Hope, which he reprised in the 1970 film adaptation, earning him Academy Award and Golden Globe nominations. He became well known as the voice of Darth Vader in the original Star Wars film trilogy, released between 1977 and 1983. Early roles. Jones began his acting career at the Ramsdell Theatre in Manistee, Michigan. In 1953, he was a stage carpenter. During the 1955-57 seasons, he was an actor and stage manager. He performed his first portrayal of Shakespeare's Othello in this theatre in 1955. His early career also included an appearance in the ABC radio anthology series Theatre 5. In 1957, he made his Broadway debut as understudy to Lloyd Richards in the short-lived play The Egghead by Molly Kazan. The play ran only 21 performances. However, 3 months later, Jones created the featured role of Edward the Butler in Dore Sherry's Sunrise at Campobello at the Court Theatre in January 1958. 1960s. During the early to mid-1960s, Jones acted in various works of William Shakespeare, becoming one of the best-known Shakespearean actors of the time. He tackled roles such as Othello and King Lear, Oberon in A Midsummer Night's Dream, Abhorsen in Measure for Measure, and Claudius in Hamlet. Also during this time, Jones made his film debut in Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb as the young Lieutenant Lothar Zog, the B-52 bombardier. Jones would later play a surgeon and Haitian rebel leader in The Comedians, alongside Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor and Alec Guinness. In December 1967, Jones starred alongside Jane Alexander in Howard Sackler's play The Great White Hope at the Arena Stage in Washington, D.C. The play was a huge success when it moved to Broadway on October 3, 1968. Jones himself won the 1969 Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play, and the Drama Desk Award for his performance. In 1969, Jones participated in making test films for the children's education series Sesame Street. He is often cited as the first celebrity guest on that series, although a segment with Carol Burnett was the first to actually be broadcast. He also appeared on the soap opera Guiding Light. 1970s. In 1973, Jones played Hickey on Broadway at the Circle in the Square Theatre in a revival of Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh. Jones played Lenny on Broadway in the 1974 Brooks Atkinson Theatre production of the adaptation of John Steinbeck's novella, Of Mice and Men, with Kevin Conway as George and Pamela Blair as Curly's wife. In 1970, Jones reunited with Jane Alexander in the film adaptation of The Great White Hope. This would be Jones' first leading film role. Jones portrayed boxer Jack Johnson, a role he had previously originated on stage. His performance was acclaimed by critics and earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He was the second African-American male performer after Sidney Poitier to be nominated for this award. In The Man, Jones starred as a senator who unexpectedly becomes the first African-American president of the United States. The film also starred Martin Balsam and Burgess Meredith. In 1974, Jones co-starred with Diahann Carroll in the film Claudine, the story of a woman who raises her 6 children alone after 2 failed and 2 almost marriages. The film is a romantic comedy and drama, focusing on systemic racial disparities Black families face. It was one of the first major films to tackle themes such as welfare, economic inequality, and the typical marriage of men and women in the African American community during the 1970s. Jones and Carroll received widespread critical acclaim and Golden Globe nominations for their performances. Carroll was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. In 1977, Jones made his debut in his iconic voiceover role as Darth Vader in the science fiction blockbuster film Star Wars: A New Hope. He would reprise for the sequels The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi later on. Darth Vader was portrayed in costume by David Prowse in the film trilogy, with Jones dubbing Vader's dialogue in post-production. At his own request, Jones was uncredited for the release of the first two Star Wars films, though he would be credited for the third film and eventually also for the first film's 1997 special edition re-release. When Linda Blair did the girl in The Exorcist, they hired Mercedes McCambridge to do the voice of the devil coming out of her. And there was controversy as to whether Mercedes should get credit. I was one who thought no, she was just special effects. So when it came to Darth Vader, I said, no, I'm just special effects. But it became so identified that by the third one, I thought, okay, I'll let them put my name on it. In the autumn of 1979, Jones appeared on the short-lived CBS police drama Paris, which was notable as the first program on which Stephen Bocco served as executive producer. Jones also starred that year in the critically acclaimed TV miniseries sequel Roots: The Next Generations as the older version of author Alex Haley. 1980s. In 1987, Jones starred in August Wilson's play Fences as Troy Maxon, a middle-aged working-class father who struggles to provide for his family. The play, set in the 1950s, is part of Wilson's 10-part Pittsburgh cycle. The play explores the evolving African American experience and examines race relations, among other themes. Jones won widespread critical acclaim, earning himself his second Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play. Besides the Star Wars sequels, Jones was featured in several other box office hits of the 1980s, the action, fantasy film Conan the Barbarian, the Eddie Murphy comedy Coming to America, and the sports drama Fantasy Field of Dreams, which earned an Academy Award for Best Picture nomination. He also starred in the independent film Mattawan. The film dramatized the events of the Battle of Mattawan, a coal miners' strike in 1920 in Mattawan, a small town in the hills of West Virginia. He received an Independent Spirit Award nomination for his performance. In 1985, Jones lent his bass voice as Pharaoh in the first episode of Hanna-Barbera's The Greatest Adventure, Stories from the Bible. From 1989 to 1992, Jones served as the host of the children's TV series Long Ago and Far Away. 1990s. Jones appeared in several more successful films during the early to mid-1990s, including The Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, The Sandlot, Clear and Present Danger, and Cry, The Beloved Country. He also lent his distinctive bass voice for the role of Mufasa in the 1994 Disney animated film The Lion King. In 1992, Jones was presented with the National Medal of the Arts by President George H.W. Bush. He has played lead characters on television in 3 series. Jones has the distinction of winning 2 Primetime Emmys in the same year, in 1991 as Best Actor for his role in Gabriel's Fire. He also portrayed Thad Green on MathNet, a parody of Dragnet that appeared in the PBS program Square One Television. In 1998, Jones starred in the widely acclaimed syndicated program An American Moment. James has guest-starred in many television shows over the years, including for NBC's Law & Order, Frasier, and Will and Grace, and ABC's Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. In 1990, Jones performed voice work for The Simpsons' first Treehouse of Horror, Halloween Special, in which he was the narrator for The Simpsons version of Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven. He has also voiced the Emperor of the Night in Pinocchio, and Omadon in Flight of Dragons. In 1996, he recited the classic baseball poem, Casey at the Bat, with the Cincinnati Pops Orchestra, and in 2007 before a Philadelphia Phillies home game on June 1, 2007. 2000s. During the 2000s, Jones made appearances on various television shows such as CBS's 2.5 Men, the WB drama Everwood, Fox's medical drama House, MD, and CBS's The Big Bang Theory. In 2002, Jones received Kennedy Center honors at the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Also at the ceremony included fellow honorees Paul Simon, Elizabeth Taylor, and Chita Rivera. President George W. Bush joked, "People say that the voice of the president is the most easily recognized voice in America. Well, I'm not going to make that claim in the presence of James Earl Jones." Those there to honor Jones included Sidney Poitier, Kelsey Grammer, Charles S. Dutton, and Courtney B. Vance. Jones's voice is possibly heard as Darth Vader at the conclusion of Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He starred on Broadway as Big Daddy in a limited-run, all-African-American production of Tennessee Williams' Pulitzer Prize-winning drama Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. In November 2009, James reprised the role of Big Daddy in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof at the Novello Theatre in London's West End. He narrated all 27 books of the New Testament in the audiobook James Earl Jones Reads the Bible. In 2009, Jones appeared as a patient in the 4th episode of the 6th season of the medical drama House MD. Also in 2009, for his work on film and television, Jones was presented with the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award by Forrest Whitaker. In 2010, Jones returned to the Broadway stage in Alfred Urry's Driving Miss Daisy, along with Vanessa Redgrave. He was nominated for a Tony for Best Performance in a Lead Role in a Revival for his performance in Gore Vidal's The Best Man in 2012. In 2013, Jones starred opposite Redgrave in a production of Much Ado About Nothing directed by Mark Rylance at the Old Vic, London. In 2014, he starred alongside Annalie Ashford as Grandpa in the Broadway revival You Can't Take It With You at the Longacre Theatre, Broadway. On September 23, 2015, Jones opened in a new revival of The Gin Game opposite Cicely Tyson, in the John Golden Theatre, where the play had originally premiered. The play had a planned limited run of 16 weeks. It closed on January 10, 2016. In 2013-2014, he appeared alongside Malcolm McDowell in a series of commercials for Sprint in which the two recited mundane phone and text message conversations in a dramatic way. In 2015, Jones starred as the Chief Justice Caleb Thorne in the American drama series Agent X alongside actress Sharon Stone, Jeff Hefner, Jamie Sheridan, and others. The television series was aired by TNT from November 8 to December 27, 2015, running only one season and 10 episodes. Jones reprised his voice role of Darth Vader for the animated TV series Star Wars Rebels and the live-action film Rogue One, a Star Wars story. He was the only original cast member to do so for the CGI remake of The Lion King. Chiwetel Ejiofor, who voiced Mufasa's evil brother Scar in the remake, said that the comfort of is going to be very rewarding in taking on this journey again. 2020s. Jones reprised the role of King Jaffa Joffa in Coming to America, the sequel to Coming to America. This was a story of success about James Earl Jones's career. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe and join us for more.